Hi everybody. In this unit I want to talk about pride in the context of minority literature and specifically as an extension of the issue of protest in literature. So this video will discuss the complex word pride, especially in connection with minority groups. It seems to me that people have a deep misunderstanding of what pride signifies in this context. This is due perhaps to the word having a number of meanings and connotations, the word pride itself having a number of meanings and connotations. It might also be due to people not knowing what it means to be part of a marginalized identity. Pride is the quality of being proud. This can mean, if you look in the dictionary, either something quite negative or quite positive. The negative definition would be feeling pleased with yourself for an unjustified reason. For example, the nobleman felt too proud to clean his own shoes. Here he thinks too highly of himself to do a simple task of taking care of what he looks like. The only reason he is proud is that he was born to a certain family, not that he did anything special. This is the more negative definition. In fact, in Christianity, pride is considered a sin. To generalize about a very complex topic, it is viewed as overconfidence in human ability in a way that prevents you, the sinner, the prideful sinner, from seeing how much you need God. This definition is definitely not what we mean when we talk about pride in the minority literature context. I mention it here because it's still a definition and a meaning and a connotation that circulates in our culture, and I wanted to mention it in order to put it aside, to clear it away. This is not what we mean when we say pride, when we are talking about minorities. Another meaning, probably more common today than the negative meaning, and more relevant to minorities, is feeling pleased with yourself or something or someone you are associated with for a justified reason. For example, the girl felt pride after receiving 100 on the math exam. Her parents also felt pride. Her parents also felt pride. This is a fairly positive meaning, but notice that it is pride the girl earned by being good at math or working hard for the grade. The parents earned that pride by being associated with the girl, being her parents, or even perhaps by supporting her or helping her with her studies, so they have good reason to feel proud. This positive meaning developed into the meaning that I associate with minority groups. The minority group most associated today with the word pride is the community of people whose sexual orientation or gender do not conform to the norms of our society, also known as LGBTQ+. That stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, plus other sexual and gender minorities that do not fit under those letters. You'll often just hear people say LGBT or even just gay, as in gay pride. Because of the prevalence of things like pride parades and pride parties, and other events that signify the LGBTQ plus community and pride, the word has been associated with this community. But the idea of minority pride is not restricted to that community, and we can hear about black pride or Hispanic pride. There can be autistic pride or even mad pride, pride for people diagnosed with mental illnesses. Pride in this context has a slightly different meaning from the standard definition, but this is a definition that you can also find in dictionaries. So, in this context, pride means, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, a sense of confidence, self respect, and solidarity as felt or publicly expressed by members of a group, typically one that has been socially marginalized, on the basis of their shared identity, history, and experience. So, pride is a feeling pleased with the group you belong to. Feeling is feeling that it is worthwhile being part of it, that you want to support it and other members of that group. This wanting to support the group and other members is what solidarity means here. It is a sense that your group is worth celebrating. Sometimes people say about something like gay pride or black pride, what do you have to be proud of yourself? Why are you proud of yourself? You didn't do anything special. You're just a member of the group. Why are you so proud of yourself? In order to answer that, you have to understand what it is like to be part of a marginalized group. It means getting the message that you are less worthwhile than other people. So, to go back to the example of gay identity, many gay people, gay men, grew up being bullied, and if they came out of the closet at all, they were rejected by family and friends. They received the message from media that gay men are ridiculous, or from religious leaders that they are sinful, even from some doctors that they have a sickness. This messaging has changed somewhat over the last decades in some societies. For example, the official manual of psychiatry erased homosexuality as a mental disorder in 1974. But so that's, you could say, progress in less doctors saying that homosexuality is actually a mental illness. But this bias and even hate still definitely exists. This homophobia definitely exists. For example, it's very common to hear religious leaders, conservative religious leaders, speak out against homosexuality. And when society tells you your identity is wrong or less worthwhile, a lesser identity than other identities, if it tells you that you're not as good as a straight man because you're gay, or that you're not as good as a white child because you're a black child, that maybe you're not as good as a boy because you're a girl, the very act, so if society tells you that you're lesser, the very act of owning up to this identity publicly and celebrating it, even talking about it, writing about it, creating art about it, especially for identities that you could hide, it's even more important because you can choose not to talk about your sexual identity, and for some gay people, it's possible to hide their identity. So the decision to talk about it is important. It's something to be proud of. And even if it's not an identity that you can hide, like being black, and for most black people, it's not possible to hide their skin color, then it's still a kind of decision to celebrate this identity rather than just accept what other people say about it. So it's difficult to talk about it. It's difficult to create art about these identities that are said to be lesser than the mainstream identity. So accomplishing even the celebration of your identity is a source of pride. Sometimes it can feel like surviving, just staying alive, staying healthy, in a world that hates you can feel like something worthy of a sense of pride. If you don't understand the stress that some minority groups are under, you won't understand why they feel pride for surviving it. In this sense, asserting pride, saying, yes, I'm proud of being gay, yes, I'm proud of being black, not being ashamed, asserting pride is a kind of protest. By insistence on your worth, you are insisting that the way you are treated is wrong. If you say that I'm equal to you, that my identity is worth celebrating, you're also protesting any moment in which people mistreated you. That is a very positive and powerful way to resist racism or homophobia. In a world where you feel like you don't have a right to be seen, asserting you exist is a kind of protest. So if people ask, what do they have to be proud of? Why do they need to express this pride in public? The answer can be they are proud of not accepting the bigoted view of themselves. They must express pride in public because the hatred towards them is also public and because it will give them power to resist it further. Give the protesters, the people in the pride parade, or writing the poetry of pride, and the next generation. Thanks for listening.